You are listening to chartingwealth.com for Thursday, the 21st of June, 2018. We see stocks up for the day, bonds and gold down. Let's jump into the S&P 500 as depicted by SPY, the exchange traded fund that tracks that index of 500 big stocks and big companies. What do we see going on as far as the weekly chart goes? Well, prior 2 weeks, lots of nice up movement following a weekly vertical crossover back on the 1st of June. That's the week ending then. What we see now is a repeat of what that first week looked like. That was the week ending the 1st of June where the weekly vertical crossover occurred. We have what's shaping up to be, well, almost a doji, pretty much a spinning top, which means lots of indecision tending down. Now, as we zoom into the derivative oscillator and the price percent oscillator, we can see the derivative oscillator is losing some of its energy. Price percent oscillator is also going flatter, still heading up just a little bit, but just barely. Prices, of course, shot through both the 2-day and the weekly trend line. So lots of steam coming out of that prior up move in the S&P 500. Hasn't crossed over on the 2-day chart, just the first day of the latest 2-day candle, but that prior 2-day candle ending on the 19th was a strong down move, so we'll continue to monitor that on the S&P 500. What's going on the 4-hour chart? Well, very interesting to watch. It crossed over going down back in the morning on Thursday, the 14th of June, and really trundled down strong the morning of Friday the 15th. And again, strong down moves the morning of Tuesday, the 19th of June. But we've seen for the last 3 candles up movement. Derivative oscillator now is gaining downward momentum. Price percent oscillator, however, is still headed down. If we do see a crossover going up on that 4-hour chart, because the 2-day and the weekly are still in confirmed up moves, you could potentially get in. We don't know how long-lived this 1 day or really day and a half of up movement is going to be. Again, just up for the day a little bit, 0.18%. So keep your powder dry. Keep your eyes on the S&P 500. Maybe there's some up move left in it. Now, let's go from the S&P 500 to the Qs of the NASDAQ 100. And of course, we see 3, 6, 7, 8. We see going into the 8th candle of strong up movement on the NASDAQ 100, the tech stocks. Of course, we had a weekly vertical crossover back on the week ending the 25th of May. At the same time, the derivative oscillator flipped over to the positive. And of course, price movement is now just above the 2-day trend line on the weekly chart, well above the weekly trend line. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum, price percent oscillator heading up. And unlike the anemic up movement on the S&P 500 at 0.18%, the NASDAQ 100 is up 0.71% for the day. And as we go from the 2-day chart, or the weekly chart, to the 2-day chart, we see that the derivative oscillator is continuing to lose momentum. Price percent oscillator is pretty much gone flat, maybe heading up just a little bit. Price movement is, though, above the 2-day and well above the weekly trend lines. And in fact, well, we'll wait till this new candle is drawn before we redraw the 2-day trend line. And of course, as we look at the 4-hour chart, what do we see? Well, it's still in a confirmed down move, even with the up movement over the course of the day. In fact, it's just retracing exactly where it was all the way back on the afternoon of Thursday, the 14th. So again, don't have a crossover going up to tell us to jump back into this trade. For those of you who did pull the plug on that, and you did so wisely when we saw that crossover going down. It hasn't recovered yet fully, and we'll see if indeed it actually does. So we'll keep our eye on things. And again, if you stayed in it, well, bully for you. We'll continue to watch it and see what we see. But the 2-day is all right, and the weekly is, of course, nice and strong. And again, the 2-day, still okay. We'll just continue to follow this, keep you posted as things move on. What's going on with bonds? They are down for the day. Now, we're still in a confirmed up move on the weekly chart, and we're in a confirmed up move on the 2-day chart. We'll talk about the weekly just a little bit. Remember, we had that weekly vertical crossover back on the 25th of May. And of course, it wasn't as strong as we would like because the derivative oscillator didn't flip over at the same time. That happened the next week. And that next week, ending the 1st of June, was a nice strong week. Then it went sideways for 2 weeks. And again, we're seeing some up movement over the course of this week, but not nearly as high as where it had originally popped up to on our Heiken Ashi candlesticks. Derivative oscillator gaining momentum. Price percent oscillator heading up, not quite as strong as it had before. We look at the 2-day chart, and what do we see? It's actually gone flat, headed down a little bit again, down 0.87% for the day. Derivative oscillator losing momentum. Price percent oscillator headed down. First day of this latest 2-day candle is a red spinning top, which at this point means indecision, tending down. Again, it's not a solid red with just a wick on the bottom, but again, that's what it tends to mean. We're still in a confirmed up move, though, on the 2-day and the weekly. We look at the 4-hour, and of course, we see it is plummeting down in the morning and the afternoon, and had some warning yesterday afternoon, as we talked about. So heading down, hasn't crossed over yet, but the derivative oscillators shooting down, and the price percent oscillators really bucked over and headed down. So again, keep your eye on things. Hasn't penetrated yet the 2-day chart, but might be getting quite close to that in the morning. It's touched it on its wick. So again, concerns there as far as that up movement goes. So be careful. We'll continue to keep our eye on things and watch 20-year bonds. Now, lastly, we go to gold, down 0.45% for the day. Remember, gold still in a confirmed down move on the weekly chart and on the 2-day. Derivative oscillator getting downward momentum. Price percent oscillator heading down. And of course, this latest weekly candle strong down. Gold down 0.45%. We look at the 2-day chart going into our third candle, a down movement. This is just the first day of this latest 2-day candle. Derivative oscillators gained lots of downward momentum. Price percent oscillators heading steadily down. And again, 2-day and the weekly confirmed down moves. What's going on in this 4-hour chart? Well, it's continuing down. Gold just keeps sort of pushing through. We were worried about it somehow stopping around the 121.13, 121.14 mark, but it's pushed all the way through now to the 120.47. Trying to see if we had any floor there back earlier. Yeah, we did have a couple of times it hit around there at about the 120 mark. So again, we'll just keep an eye on things. The derivative oscillator is not actually is losing some of its downward momentum, but that price percent oscillator is still spiking down. So we'll keep our eye on gold. The down move still looks pretty decent. So that's where we are, folks, as we wrap up the day on Wednesday and go into Thursday. We so appreciate you being with us. If you've got questions, problems, concerns, we love to hear from you. You can always write us right there at our website. Please go to chartingwealth.com. We have a contact form there. Also would appreciate you signing up for and subscribing to our daily market review. That's absolutely free. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. We've got it all there for you, and we share these training videos every single day. Don't forget to purchase our book. There are links on the website and on the emails we send out every day and at our YouTube channel as to how you can purchase our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth. We're in our third printing now. We also have just received our reorders in for our Trader's Journal, 3-month supply of daily market worksheets, weekly market worksheets, and trade worksheets. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.